For decades, international football followed a very strict script. A handful of elite nations held an iron grip on the sport's greatest prize. This routine dominance built a rigid hierarchy. You always knew which heavyweights would cruise through the group stages, and which smaller nations were simply there to make up the numbers. During the 2018 tournament in Moscow, one sports analyst pointed to a specific set of anomalies in the match data, evidence that the sport's long-standing predictability was beginning to slip. His projection mapped an incoming collapse. He warned that by the time the 2026 tournament arrived, the traditional power structure would dissolve into total structural chaos. Pundits and fans brushed off the warning as clickbait. Yet beneath the surface of the established order, the mathematical foundation of global football was already silently fracturing. That dismissive confidence from years ago is completely gone. With 2026 approaching, a quiet anxiety is spreading through the fan bases of historical powerhouses. Shortly after the 2018 final, the data started glitching. Small, unheralded teams began forcing draws and stealing late wins against heavily favored giants in friendly matches and regional qualifiers. The broader sports world wrote these off as random variants, a bad day at the office for the favorites, or a lucky bounce for an energized underdog. But these isolated incidents kept repeating. They were early symptoms of a massive, systemic shift in the sport's competitive balance. The entire 2018 warning rested on a single mathematical thesis. The margin of raw skill separating the top 10 teams from the next 50 was evaporating. This chart plots historical performance metrics between top-tier and bottom-tier nations. Notice the steady upward climb of the lower line. We call this the convergence trend. As elite coaching tactics, deep data analytics, and advanced sports science spread globally, smaller nations armed themselves with the exact same developmental tools as the traditional giants. Looking closely at today's metrics, those baselines statistically overlap. Underdog nations now possess the structural capability and tactical discipline to consistently outplay a favorite. On the pitch, this convergence manifests as a relentless, high-intensity struggle where the raw physical execution of an underdog matches top-tier favorites step for step. Elite talent is no longer restricted to a few wealthy federations. The physical and tactical advantages that once defined the elite are now accessible to more nations than ever before. We can see this playing out right now. Over the last few tournament cycles, multiple European and South American heavyweights have completely collapsed against teams ranked 40 or 50 spots below them. Former champions are missing qualification altogether or getting sent home early, defeated by once easy opponents. Unknown players tear through defenses, instantly becoming national heroes, exploiting these aging, vulnerable giants. Look at this traditional tournament bracket projection. Notice how it fractures as unexpected underdog paths overwrite the elite advancements. Historical models, betting odds, and expert projections are consistently failing because their algorithms break down when faced with so many viable contenders. The consistency of these upsets validates the 2018 warning. These patterns indicate a massive structural shift toward a game where historical status no longer dictates the outcome. This brings us to the upcoming tournament. 2026 will serve as the ultimate stress test, exposing this newly leveled playing field to the entire world. According to that original projection, we are heading toward a specific reality. First, a globally recognized powerhouse, a team expected to win it all, will suffer a humiliating elimination long before the semifinals. Second, an entirely unheralded underdog nation will successfully navigate the wreckage of that collapsed bracket and walk onto the pitch for the final match. This possibility terrifies traditional football institutions. An underdog finalist shatters decades of reliable commercial expectations, broadcast ratings, and established storytelling. When the whistle blows in 2026, the world will finally have to accept that the old kings of football can no longer guarantee their own survival. To football purists, a prediction like this sounds absurd, but history consistently takes what seems impossible and makes it inevitable. The opening kickoff will serve as the final global verdict on that ignored warning from 2018. For the first time in modern memory, the sport's greatest prize is genuinely up for grabs by anyone with the discipline to take it. With the skill gap closing and tactical parity reaching a tipping point, 2026 is moving toward a tournament structure that could dismantle the traditional hierarchy for good. Curious, engaging tone. We've looked at the data, but the final variable is yet to be played. Weigh the evidence for yourself and drop your own 2026 prediction in the comments below.